Hello, and welcome back to Play of the Game, the Magic Limited podcast where we actually play the games. We're back this week with another Secrets of Strixhaven early access draft spot. We were very lucky to be able to both play early access, and it was really fun. Really excited for the set. I think by the time this episode comes out, people will have had a good chance to play it, so maybe they'll have even better instincts for it than we do. But we have a pretty interesting spot here. Before we get into it, just going to do our quick introduction to the concept of the podcast for newer people. So this is a podcast where we talk about a single limited gameplay spot in every episode. And we have a video version that's on YouTube, and I think Spotify also has the video, funnily enough. But if you're just listening in audio form, you can go to the description. We will link out to the 17 lands log of whichever spot we're talking about. So you should go to that, look through the spot, the gameplay decision, whatever, kind of think about it maybe a little bit for yourself, download it, and then come back and listen to the podcast. And hopefully you will have all the context you need to help listen. Also, I guess, I'm Ryan, and my co-host, my lovely co-host is...
Hello, I'm Jason. I'll be here mostly to read the spot, clearly.
But yes, that is definitely Jason's role in the intro, at least. So, Jason, do you want to give us a breakdown of what spot we are looking at?
Yeah, so right now we this is like the mid-game turn. This is our 7th turn, 6 or 7 maybe. And we are a black-green deck playing against the red-white deck. We have 5 lands in play. We don't have a land drop. We also don't have any way to hit our land drop, I don't believe. So we're just working with 5 mana this turn. 2 swamps, 2 forests, and a Great Hall of the Biblioplex. That's the rare land that can be a mana confluence, like Pain Land for instants and sorceries, and it can like animate permanently into a 2/4 that like has fire breathing prowess. Prowess only for power. Our opponent, so we also have a 1/1 Death Touch that can pump itself, a 2/2 Soul Warden, like whenever it or another creature enters, you gain a life, and a Pest, 1/1 that when it attacks, it gains a life. Those are our 3 creatures in play. Our opponent also has 3 creatures in play. They have 6 lands and 3 cards in hand. Their 3 creatures are a 1/2, a 1/2, and a 1/1 double strike. So that's 2 copies of Elite Interceptor. The things that enter with a prepared spell to tap or untap target creature and draw a card. They've used both of those already, so those aren't prepared. But their Quillblade Laureate is prepared. That's the 1/1 double strike that has the prepared spell. That's sorcery, 2 mana, target creature gets +1/+0 and double strike. They have 6 lands in play, including 1 dual land that surveils, and they have 3 cards in hand, in addition to their prepared spell that's Chilling in Exile. I believe on their most recent turn, all they did was flash back the deal 2 to target creature spell for 5 mana. So like they've been like playing pretty passively this game. They haven't had they've just had like some 1/2s and like a 1/1 double strike now, and haven't really had great attacks with them. Maybe implies they don't have very many tricks in hand, but unclear. But yeah, so the decision comes down to the 4 cards in our hand. We have a Cheerful Osteomancer. That's the 4/2 that enters prepared with a Raised Dead. So it costs 4 mana +1 for the Raised Dead. So 5 mana this turn. Perfect opportunity to cast that. We in fact have 3 different creatures in our graveyard that we could get back. We have the Golgari Hybrid Uncommon 3/1 that enters with a 1/1, and when the creature dies, or at your end step, if a creature died, you draw a card. Pretty good value piece. We have a 5 mana 4/5 Vigilance. As long as you've gained life, it is a 6/5 instead of a 4/5, and it has the protection ability of like when your opponent targets it, you draw a card. And we have another copy of our Soul Warden 2/2 that they killed last turn. Then, in addition to the Osteomancer, which is maybe like the obvious like proactive play that we could make, it spends all our mana. We have 3 different spells: Giant Growth, just single green, +3/+3; Masterful Flourish, black for a +1/+0 trick that also gives Indestructible; and Bitter Triumph. That's the 2 mana removal spell that you have to either pay 3 life or discard a card as an additional cost. Presumably, we are at 20, they're at 18. Presumably, we will pay 3 life when we cast that card. So yeah, we could either cast our 4/2 and use it to get back something immediately, or we could like, think about casting a trick in combat and then also cast our 4/2 and not use its prepared spell immediately, or we could like, do something more complicated with like casting multiple of our non-creature spells, like maybe multiple different tricks and the removal spell or something. We could even think about animate, like holding up mana to like use tricks on their turn and also animate our Great Hall if nothing happens. We have a bunch of choices.
Yeah, I would say this is a spot where, weirdly, it's kind of funny. The board is super small for the mid game in like a normal limited game. They have a bunch of 1 power creatures. One of them has double strike, sure. And then we also have like a 2/2, a 1/1, and a 1/1. It's just like really, really small stats across the board for both of our boards. And we have a ton of options in our hand. We have lots of cheap spells. We have one modal kind of ish spell where it could be a 5 mana Gravedigger or it could be a 4 mana future Gravedigger. That option obviously is maybe weak to like removal on the opponent's side of things. So yeah, and then we have like various ways to win combats, including the pump on our 1/1 Death Toucher. So it is certainly very hard for our opponent to get into combat with us, at least right now, while we have mana up. So I think the natural place to start for this hand, this turn, is what do we want to accomplish this turn? So we're in the mid game. Neither player's life totals are really under very much threat. Our opponent is red-white. We are black-green. Do we have... I think pausing there is, I guess, appropriate. Like, do we have strong opinions on which of these color pairs are more controlling, more aggressive in this format traditionally? Black-green is more grindy and red-white is more aggressive. Do we think that holds true? Do we know enough about Strixhaven to believe that holds true? Does it matter for this game?
I would say that I think it's pretty safe to say that given the cards we've seen out of them, they're probably somewhat aggressive. Like the Double Striker's a pretty aggressive card. The 1-mana 1/2s are like cards that you mostly play if you care about like Repartee, which is a like pretty aggressive mechanic on like targeting creatures and such. They could just be playing them as Thraben Inspectors, but also like I don't know, they haven't really shown us many like grindy tools. I guess they played the like deal 2 with flashback, but like that's just like I think a fine card wherever. Um, I think more notably, like our hand like plays kind of both ways a little bit. Like the Osteomancer is a little bit of grind, and like we can use it to get back a like pretty grindy card as well, like either a 5-mana 4/5 that they'll have to try to deal with, and when they target it, we draw a card, or like the 3/1 that comes with a pest, which like is a draw engine kind of, assuming things are trading. So like we have tools to grind just based on the Osteomancer, and we also have like tools to like play the like shorter like combat game of with we have 2 tricks and a removal spell in hand. It's pretty good for that. Also in terms of grinding, we have our creature lands, which is nice.
Yep. I would also say we have a removal spell, which is a little bit important for grinding, because if your opponent casts a bomb, your options are usually either deal with the bomb or make the game not last very long. And having a removal spell means that the grinding option is even still valuable when our opponent casts something really strong. And that does matter if we're trying to like enact a grindy plan. Let's say we did not have Bitter Triumph. We had, I don't know, a land instead. And we happened to know that our opponent had like multiple very strong creatures that would be hard to deal with in like fair combat ways in our deck. It's possible that we may then be incentivized to be a little bit more aggressive and not just try to like gain value this turn. We might want to, try to attack as much as possible so that we can get them dead more quickly. That's kind of a theory thing. It's also not true because we have the Bitter Triumph. Just noting that like our having that does mean that we are more willing to be grindy. So I think the obvious conclusion then, if we're agreeing that like being grindy is probably a reasonable thing that we have the tools for and are like wanting to do in the game, is we want to use our 5 mana this turn to cast this Osteomancer and raise dead, get back one of our threats. I mean, do you have opinions on which threat we should get back? Because we're not really going to learn any more information probably before we choose what we get. So we should probably like decide what we're getting before we plan the rest of our turn-ish.
So I think that like The 4/5 just really nicely statted on this board, so I would lean towards that. Honestly, it also plays very well with tricks, right? Like
It
if our opponent
does.
goes to kill it, we can save it either with our indestructible spell, or if they're using like a damage spell on it, we even have a giant growth. So like that's my immediate instinct. I mean, I think it's better than the 3/1. Like the 3/1 like represents some amount of like grindy like engines, but only if creatures are trading off. And I feel like that's not exactly what we want to have. Like our tricks in hand kind of don't want our creatures to be trading off, right? Like
Right.
if we're attacking with a creature, we kind of want to play a trick on it and have it not trade off rather than like have it trade off and have our 3/1 draw a card. So that I lean towards getting back the 4/5 certainly.
Yeah, I think I agree. Like, for one thing, the fact that the 4/5 really dominates this board, I think, is pretty important. Even if we tap out for it, and let's say we, don't draw a land next turn, so we can't leave up our indestructible trick, it still really matters that they really have to kill it. And even if they do, we're getting a full card when they kill it. And then let's say that we do draw a land, or we do, they don't kill it and we get to untap with our indestructible trick. Then I think we're really in the driver's seat, because we can just start attacking with it. It's impossible for them to block it, because we have tricks and removal, and they would probably need to double block with their small creatures. So like, this card just does so much if we can get it down over the next 2 turns, that I think I agree. Like, this is the card we want to get back, even though it's slightly clunkier and it doesn't draw us cards unless the opponent targets it. Like, I still think it's just better than this 3/1 plus a 1/1 that is not going to do that much combat wise. Like, we do want a way to kind of progress the game and push our advantage a little bit. And the 4/5 vigilance, that's also probably going to be like a 6/5 realistically, certainly does that. While not really being a worse grindy tool, just being slightly more expensive. So, strongly agreed there. Okay, so our plan for the turn is to use our 5 mana on Osteo plus Raise Dead. Established, granted. Do we have any attacks? We have a bunch of tricks in hand, so like, it's quite possible that we could just make an attack and it's kind of free. So like, if they block, we just trick, blow them out, and then wait to do our Osteomancer next turn and just accept that, like, oh yeah, we had a nice attack.
Or we could just cast the Osteomancer. Like we could use a trick and cast our Osteomancer.
True.
It's
True.
supposed to removal, but if that's something we can do.
So yeah, let's talk about that. Like, how bad do we think it is if we cast the Osteomancer and use a trick in combat, and then they untap and, like, I don't know, play another Tome Blast or something to like kill our Osteo, and then I don't know, like some random creature or whatever, like something reasonable they could do with their turn. Is that pretty devastating for us? Is it sad but we're fine? Like, where does that lean us in terms of evaluating how sad we would be if that happened? How much we want to avoid that situation?
We do have a creature land still,
We
but it's
do.
not great for us.
Yeah. Like, we're kind of behind on mana, and we also don't really have anything to really, like, push our advantage forward in the game. So, animating the creature land, yeah, it's good with our tricks, but, like, they're probably going to play some reasonable creatures, and then if they start attacking us and we attack back with the creature land, are we, giant growthing it to try to race? Like, that seems bad. Yeah, like, I think the Osteomancer is doing a lot of work getting back this 4/5 and letting us continue to grind and kind of have an advantage in this game. I personally would be pretty sad if it got killed, because I think with it getting something back, we're pretty ahead right now. We just have, like, flexibility in terms of affecting the board in our hand with a bunch of different spells, and we're in a position to actually start to have an advantage in combat where we can start attacking turn after turn. So if that doesn't happen, if our 4/2 gets killed and we can't get back another creature, our advantage is kind of lost. We're sort of back to parity, which is pretty bad. I think we're ahead this game is basically what I'm saying.
Yeah. So like ideally we don't want to like use a trick and then like play our Osteomancer, but obviously like there are some things that could happen where like we would want to use a trick, right? Like let's say like for example and like this wouldn't happen, but like let's say we attacked with like our 2/2 or something. Yeah, let's say we attacked with our 2/2 and for some reason they decided to triple block. I would totally use a giant growth to eat all 3 of their creatures, right?
Yeah.
Like they're not going to make that block, almost certainly. But like that's an example of like there are the trade using the trick is so good for you that you still would want to use the trick. But maybe like, the next thing to think about is like, okay, what if we attack, like how would they likely block, like how would they likely like block in a way, and like how would we likely be incentivized to use our tricks, and would we be happy about that, right? So I mean, the obvious one is like, we attack with our pest, they're probably just going to block with a 1/2. Are we happy using a trick to kill a 1/2?
Yeah, kill a 1/2, save our pest. Like, that's is that worth a card? It's like
Well, okay,
half
so
to
it's
3/4
worse
of a
than that.
card.
So think of it. That's not quite the way to think about it,
Okay.
even, because like it's less kill a 1/2 save our pest and more just kill a 1/2, right? Because like, or maybe you could argue kill a 1/2 gain a life, because like the only reason why we need to save our pest is because we put ourselves in this situation
Yes.
anyways. Like basically we're asking like, do we want to attack with our pest? And we should only attack with our pest if we're happy like turning our trick into kill a 1/2.
Yeah.
Right. Because
Agreed.
that's essentially what attacking with the pest does. Like maybe they block with their 1/1 double strike for some unknown reason, but that seems very unlikely. And like it still is not like that obviously good to trade a trick for their 1/1 double strikes. Probably
Especially
decent,
because it's not obvious that, like, if we use that 1 mana, how are we spending our other 4 mana? We just discussed we don't really want to lose out on this Osteo. So, like, are we casting it? We kind of want to. We don't really want to waste our 4 mana. But on the other hand, if it gets killed, we're really sad. Like, that is a big consideration. So, yeah, I think, granted, we really want to avoid being forced into spending 1 mana here. So, for example, attacking with the pest, probably a no-go because they have a very obvious block that gives them an advantage, and forces us to use the trick.
Attacking with the 2/2 is a little better, because at least the only ways that they can block it is like double block with the 2 1/2s, in which case we can use a trick to kill both of them, or single block with a 1/1 double strike, in which case we can use a trick to trade for that. But still, the
Or we
question
can
is
just
like,
elect to trade with that, which might be good.
yeah. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
but we can also always elect to trade with the 1/1 double strike, or elect to trade with the 1/2. But the question is, I guess then, like, are those trades good for us? Do we want to trade our 2/2 Soul Warden for one of their creatures, or trade our Giant Growth for potentially like both of their 1/2s?
Yeah.
Eh,
It's
I
like
don't know.
even-ish, I would say. Like, maybe Giant Growth trading for the 1/1 double strike is good, but also maybe the 2/2 trading for the 1/1 double strike is good, but unclear, because, like, yeah, their double strike's a powerful card, but so is our 2/2. Like, it's gonna make our 4/5 into a 6/5 pretty trivially if it just sticks around on board. And just generally, it's going to gain us life, which is valuable in games of limited. Even though life total isn't really a factor here, like, gaining us 4 to 5 life over the next 4 to 5 turns, probably pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, like, they're probably gonna block with their 2 1/2s, right? They're probably not gonna just offer the trade of 1/1
Right.
double strike. So
And in that case,
then
we
you
are
really
pretty
don't
priced
want to-
into, yeah, exactly, which is pretty bad
So I
for
don't-
us, I would say.
I don't really like the 2/2 attack either. Like, you could think about like whether multiple attacks make things better, but usually like attacking with more things doesn't actually make their blocks worse, unless they're at unless you're threatening a relevant amount of damage, and they're at like 18. They can take the damage. It's probably not going to make them block worse if we attack with everything. So like,
In fact, weirdly, I would say attacking with more things might make their blocks better, in the sense that they're more likely to not just freely take a random 4 than a random 1 or 2. And so they might just be more incentivized to block even into tricks if you're just like representing, yeah, I mean, you either call my trick and trade for it with like a 1/2, or you take 4 versus taking, 2 or 1 or something. So yeah, attacking with everything, even though we have a lot of tricks and could win the combat easily, still not clearly good, I think, because it would just be trading our tricks for their board, and their board is not that good. We don't need to trade our tricks for it yet. Okay, last
the last
attack.
thing to consider,
Yeah.
This 1/1 death touch is weirdly annoying to block, just in general, and I think that stays pretty true here. Where like, okay, I honestly, thinking about it, I honestly think it's a good attack, because Okay, what could they block with? If they block with just a 1/2, that lets us pay 2 mana in order to eat their 1/2. Like, that might not be that good for us to do, like, from our perspective, because we have, like, it makes the rest of our mana expenditure difficult, but they don't know that. And that's it's pretty bad to just, like, randomly trade a 1/2 for 2 mana for free. So, like, I don't think they'd make that block.
Yeah, it
And
seems
even if
just
they do
way
make
too
that block,
likely to give us like a free good option because they don't know our hand, and we
yeah.
in most cases would be happy to just spend 2 mana to kill a 1/2.
Yeah.
So what if they block with both?
If they block with 2 1/2s, we can pump it twice.
Yep.
And I think we'd actually be happy about paying 4 mana to kill 2 1/2s. So, like, that's not a good blocker for them. Um, if they block with like just the 1/1 double strike, again, we can pay 4 mana to eat it. That's also not a good trade for them. If they block with a 1/2 and the 1/1 double strike, well, okay, now we can't like now we can't eat anything because, like, we can only pump it twice, and well, we could use a trick, I guess, but we can't use no cards and still keep our frog. But, like,
What they
we
know
have a
about
lot of
is
options.
this, but we have a lot of ways to profitably trade there. Like, if we pump once, we're just trading our 1/1 for both of their creatures if they make this block, which I'm happy with personally. Like, that seems like a good exchange. Obviously, like, maybe I would slightly rather be able to develop our Asti this hand or this turn, but, like, not obviously. It's just a nice way to eat up 2 of their cards for 1 of our cards without really spending anything else. So yeah, this 1/1 is very hard to block.
Using a giant growth, like, if
Right.
they double block like that, we could just use a giant
And then
growth,
play
right?
Asti, and then we might be sad if it gets killed, but not that sad because we just got a good exchange on top of it getting killed, so maybe we're still fine. You know, possible. So this 1/1 is kind of nice to attack with, I think. However, if they do block with the 1/2, are we in fact sad? Like, if we have to spend 2 mana to kill it and then do nothing else with our turn?
Well, okay, so we can spend 2 mana to kill it, and then we have we can cast Bitter Triumph on
This
their
is
turn.
true.
Like,
Right, we can kill whatever big creature they play. That's fair.
Right? Like,
Okay.
okay.
I'm
I
getting
think we're
convinced.
not that sad, and also they're like, I just don't. That would be such an insane play from them. They would have to have, like, such a specific hand to want to do that.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think that's right. I think the attack with the 1/1 is, like, relatively safe. Okay, I agree.
I guess
Yeah.
the final question is, do we want to not attack with our 1/1 because we want to block with our 1/1? I
Right.
believe the answer is pretty clearly no. But
Yeah, I don't think we want to block any of these 1/2s, and I don't think we want to invest, like, block pump into the 1/1 double strike, because if we're not attacking, our plan is to play the Asti. So, like, it's just going to be a 1/1 that does not block well on this board. So we're not planning on blocking with it.
yeah.
So
Good attack.
if it's a good attack and doesn't need to be on blocks, might as well attack with it. All right, let's see what happened in this game. So I went to combat and I attacked with the 1/1 and the 2/2, which I think we both agree after looking at this spot is just not great because they have a pretty clean block on the 2/2 that forces us to use mana. And then we're pretty sad when they do this because we giant growth. And now we're in the spot where, like, do we cast our Asti if they could just kill it, and then we're really not that far ahead this game. And so I just declined casting the Asti, which, I don't know, this is kind of an interesting decision. Like, let's say this just happened. Do you leave up Bitter Triumph, or do you cast the Osteomancer when it could get killed?
I think it's reasonable to leave up Bitter Triumph. I think what you did was unreasonable because you ended up not casting Bitter Triumph. But
yeah, possibly. I mean, I don't know. Again, interesting decision. Would you cast Bitter Triumph on these 3 creatures that don't, like, 100% matter?
Yeah, but they're low on cards. I think, like, just
Yeah.
killing something makes sense.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. And then the game, I don't even remember if I won this game or not. I'm pretty sure we did because we're pretty far ahead. I got back to 4-5, did some trading.
Yeah, it looks like you won. You drew a green emeritus at some point, so, like.
Oh, yeah, that's usually a good recipe for winning the game, isn't it? Yeah, we ended up winning pretty easily. So slight misplay there. Important to go through even the games that you won easily and try to figure out if you maybe did some subtle misplays in certain spots. This spot I definitely went back to and like remembered because I had just had this bad feeling of like, oh wait, I didn't really realize that they're pretty likely to make that exact block, which makes me really want to use this trick, which makes me really not able to spend this 4 mana this turn. So always things to improve on, and going through your logs is a really good way to do it. That's part of why I wanted to start this podcast with Jason, because it is a really good limited coach. Shout out to Jason's Limited Coaching. Go ask it if it has any coaching hours. I get you back a little bit. But yeah,
And
so
subscribe to this one's Patreon.
okay. All right, you did that once. No more this episode. Yeah. All right. To wrap things up, you can find me at Blue Sky at r-condon.bsky.social, and you can find Jason there as well.
Anywhere at JasonILTG.
Yep. And until next time, go out and make some good plays.